Good morning. My name is Karen Kong, and I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, and welcome to my This or That Thursday. Every week I try to post 2 cards in my group, and I ask my crafting community, that's all of you guys, to vote on a card and for me to make live on Thursday mornings. So this week we are making this fun fold. I did the same fun fold for both cards that I posted, but it's pretty cute and it's very easy to make. So I will show you how I got both cards out of this one card base that was included in the Nests of Xmas paper pumpkin kit. Okay, so this is an alternative. It's going to be a fun fold card to make, and let's get started. I'm just going to get my computer screen up and going so I can see your comments while I am crafting so we can chat. I hope you'll comment either live or on the replay. And ask me questions, keep me company, because it is more fun crafting together. It's no fun crafting by myself and chatting to myself. It's not as much fun. Anyway, so let me just get my computer screen up and running, and then we'll switch over to my desktop. Good morning, Sandra. Thanks for joining in. Just getting my computer screen set up. All right, the computer screen is set up. I'm gonna switch over to my desktop and we will take a look at the card closer up. Okay, just a second. Close your eyes while I move the camera. Okay, here we go. Okay. All right, so here we are. This is the Nests of Xmas paper pumpkin kit that I pulled this from. And here's my card. So here's how it opens. You can lie flat so that you can write your message, so it's really nice that way. And it just slides shut like that. Super easy to make. I will show you how in just a minute. And I'll show you the other one because I made it from the same card base. Look at that. Okay, so all I did was I added some DSP. That is the Nests of Winter DSP that coordinates with this paper pumpkin kit. And I think it looks fantastic together. All right, so let me just show you what we are using today. And I'm just going to put these aside. So it is the Nests of Xmas paper pumpkin kit that we're starting with. So this is the card base that I pulled from this kit that we're going to be using. Okay, so it makes a tri-fold, but I'm going to cut it apart and we're going to make probably 3 or 4 cards from this one card base, right? Okay, so that, and I added the Snowflake Sky for this card. So in the background of this bird is dry embossed Snowflake Sky paper, and it's a really nice subtle touch. And I also used the Joyful Sayings Ephemera pack. So I'm still using this. Look how many I still have left. I'm not done. And that's my little sentiment right here. So I think it just added just a little touch to the front that had my sentiment, and I think it looks fantastic. I'm really happy with how this turned out because I was having trouble with my creativity this week, so it's good. It's all good. Okay, so let's move that out of the way, and I used pretty Peacock for the inside. I'm amazed at how well that turned out, the matching. And of course the stamp set I used is from the Nests of Xmas as well. Okay. Sandra's asking if that pack is on the last chance list. Oh, are you talking about the DSP, the Nests of Xmas? Sorry, Nests of Winter. I just looked it up today, and it does not appear to be on the last chance list, as far as I can tell. So it's going to stick around for a little bit. I guess they're going to hang on to it for a while. Which surprised me because it is, I think it is part of the fall mini catalogs. I would have expected it to retire, but as far as I can tell, like I just looked at the actual product itself, and I just looked at the path or the category, and it looks like it's still in the regular category. Oh, Sandra says she meant the Ephemera pack. Yes, I do believe that the Ephemera pack is on sale. I'm pretty sure this one's on sale. So if you want it, you need to grab it before it disappears. Okay, so let's make some room. And I will give you guys measurements as we go, but if you're watching for the first time, don't worry, I always give the measurements and all the products I used in the video description after I'm done, so don't worry about writing it all down, it will be there for you later, okay? So I'm just going to show you the card base. So here is the card base that, that came from the Nests of Xmas paper pumpkin. So it's meant to be a trifold, and I just cut these 3 pieces apart. So I had one piece of the blue with that pattern, and then I think this is Coastal Cabana, Snowflake, and then this. So really I got, let me just show you, where did it go? Okay, so I really needed just one piece of this, which is like a half of this section. Okay, so if you were to make this card fun fold, you could make 4 cards out of that, plus this, which you punch the center out, so probably another 2 cards of that, so 6 cards out of 1 card base. I think that's pretty amazing. But I do have leftover from the first time I made this card, right? So all I did was I cut this into 3 sections, right along where the pattern ends and along the score lines. And I cut it into 4 equal pieces. So I measured so that it would be exactly 4 strips that I would need, so I can get the most out of that piece of paper. Okay, so this piece is left over from this initial pack, this initial card. So I'm going to use this one first, and I'm going to put this aside. And let's cut the card bases, okay? So the card base is consists of 2 pieces of white cardstock, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, which is your typical card base, but just cut into 2 pieces. So I'm just going to grab a piece of white. This is an 8 1/2 by 11. I'm going to cut at 5 1/2 inches. And again, turn it sideways. I'm going to cut it along at the halfway mark at 4 1/4, and that'll be your 2 card base pieces. Okay. Oh, I'm going to bring my card back so you can see it. All right. So I'm going to take one of these pieces and I'm going to score along the long side at 2 3/4 and 4 1/8. 2 3/4. And 4 1/8. Okay, and that's all I need to do. There's just the one piece needs to be scored. Okay, and now I'm going to cut my DSP. So I need these 2 strips here. So I'm going to grab this leftover piece from last time. Okay, so it's the cut to 1 3/8 by 4 inches. Okay, so 1 3/8. This is already 4 inches, right? This is already 4 inches, so I'm going to cut it in half at 1 3/8, and I'm going to measure it here, 1 3/8, and it should be. Oops, I don't need the scoring blade. Let's move that out of the way. 1 3/8, and I'm just going to double check that this is also 1 3/8. Oh, we've got a smidgen left over. I'm just looking at this corner here. Okay, 1 3/8. I'm just going to cut off that little smidgen because it's right along the fold line, so it's a little bit bent, so I'm going to cut it off, so that'll be perfect. Okay, so now I've got my 2 side pieces. All right. I have 2 leftover pieces that just happened to work out that they were the right size I needed. So these white pieces here, the matting here, and also for your sentiment on the inside, it is 2 1/2 by 4. Excuse me. Okay, so I don't need to cut them. I just need to emboss that piece. Excuse me. I'm just gonna grab a glass of water. Sorry about that. I did pour myself some water. I just forgot it in the kitchen. Okay, so let's continue. So I'm going to emboss this piece. So let me bring over my cut and emboss machine, because this is a 3D embossing folder. Okay, so I want a section that's going to give me a little bit less snow, so I'm going to put it like part way down, because this is not long. If I put it up here, I'll get like lots and lots of snow, so I'm going to put it part way down so I get a section that has less snow, so it's a little bit of a difference in the little scene that I'm creating. Yeah, the Snowflake Sky 3D embossing folder is really useful for so many winter scenes. I love it. Here we go. All right, so there you can see that. Looks awesome. I'm gonna put this away. I don't need it anymore. We're not doing any more die cutting today. I know you're dying to hear this, Sandra, but I did do some fussy cutting, and I already did it already. Aren't we prepared today? So I did fussy cut this piece out from the Nests of Winter DSP. So if you look, I just discovered this morning. So it came from this sheet, and it turns out this particular bird, I can only get the whole thing from one right in the center. That's the only one. All the other ones, like this one's slightly cut off. And because of the design for this particular card, I wanted the entire bird, whereas I can hide like cut off pieces in slightly different designs, which I plan to do because I want to use this bird again. But yeah, like this little guy is not the same branch arrangement, and this guy's facing the other way, and I wanted him to face to the right. So yeah, it just turns out that this guy, just one of them per sheet of paper. But you can definitely use different birds for this particular layout. It just I just wanted to reproduce the same card while we're doing it live for this one. Okay, so this is fussy cut. I already fussy cut it out. And if you look inside, I also included a little bit of pine cone and greenery. So I already cut the pine cone out. I have him ready, and I just need to fussy cut that piece. So I'm just going to do that right now. Shouldn't take me too long, and it doesn't matter. This is you'll notice that this is cut off, right? It's not the whole thing. So what I did was you'll see, I'm going to put it hanging off the edge, and I will trim it so that it fits into the corner. So it's a great way to use up partial images and not waste them, right? It's I just don't like throwing away almost whole images in the garbage because they don't fit properly, but this is a good way to use it up. Yep, I know, Sandra, this is your favorite, isn't it? But I saw a design, actually. I saw another designer, another demonstrator who used this designer series paper, and she just took circles out of it, and she made a whole layout with circular die cuts or punches from the DSP, and just arranged it across her page, and it looked fantastic. So that's another way that you could use up this DSP without having to fussy cut if you don't enjoy fussy cutting. Okay, so there's that piece. I think we're ready to assemble pretty fast. Okay, the other one's even faster because it uses the die cuts from the paper pumpkin pack. All right, So here's my base, okay, and this is the one with the score marks in it. So I'm just going to bend it in half. I'm just wondering, did I do it the right way? Yeah, I think so. Okay, and then I'm just going to bend this one backwards. Okay, so it's like this, right? All right, so I'm going to take my flat piece and I'm going to bring back those two pieces of DSP that are just going to go right on the side, okay? So this, you should have 1/8 of an inch on either side. So I'm just going to glue them down right along the edges with 1/8 of an inch gap. I'm going to bring my tweezers back here and my glue. Yeah, I'm sure, Sandra, you could do a lot with this DSP even without fussy cutting. I mean, I didn't even use the other side as much as I would have liked. On this particular DSP, it has the snowflake, the same snowflake pattern that you see in this one that I'm grabbing from the paper pumpkin kit. So I'm just going to lay this down 1/8 of an inch from the edges. So because I'm using glue, it gives me a little bit more wiggle time. So I'm just going to push that down just a tiny bit. Oops. Okay, and I'll put the other one down too. Oh yeah, the layering diorama. Those are retired, but they are a good set too. I don't have that one. All right. I think we're good. All right, so now that those are glued down, you can take your folded cardstock piece, and I'm going to be lining up top and bottom, okay? Top and bottom, and just right in between to overlap on the edges of these pieces of DSP, okay? I'm just going to flatten the edges of these because I can see that they're raised after cutting, and I just find that it gives it a more finished look. Okay, so like I said, we're going to put glue on the back of this piece, okay? Okay, now when I line it up, I'm going to line it up right to the edge of the back cardstock piece, okay? And it has to, it will overlap the other cardstock just by a bit. So I have centered it right between them. Okay, I'm just making sure that it lines up. And that is pretty much the card base. That's really easy. All right, so now I'm going to take my embossed piece and I'm going to adhere it over here. If you want a little bit more strength to your card, I did add on this piece, I cut out the exact same size piece and I glued the embossed piece on top so that on the back you can't see the embossing on the inside, although for this particular card you don't actually ever see that back side. So I realized that because when it lays down flat, you hide that, so you don't actually need to hide anything, or it looks pretty on the other side anyway. So this time I think I am going to not attach the extra piece. I'm just going to put the embossed piece on directly. Okay, so actually what I'm going to do before I attach that piece, I think what I might want to do is put the I can't remember if I did it before or after, but I think this time I'm going to do it beforehand. I'm going to put the bird on ahead of time. Okay. Oh, you know what I'm missing? I am missing my little piece of ephemera. So that is from this sheet over here. Okay. And I don't think Pretty Peacock is actually part of this color set. Oh, it is actually. It is Pretty Peacock. I thought it was some shade of like shaded spruce or something, but I'm pretty sure that's Pretty Peacock. So I was amazed at how well it blended in with the bird, because this shading of the green here, it kind of matches the Pretty Peacock. So it worked out really well, I think, all of these different shades of green that came together in this one card. So I like to lay things out before I glue them down. This is going to be flat because I find that this is quite thick altogether, and I didn't put it up on dimensionals because I want this card to make it through the mail. If the mail strike ends, even if it doesn't end in time for Christmas, I will probably still send it after Christmas anyways. But since it's going through the mail, I don't want it to be too thick. So with that in mind, I just kept it without dimensionals for this middle section because it is already quite raised. Okay, so I'm just kind of laying this out because I realized that the branch here just fits between the stems of the J and the Y. So that's why I am making sure that I kind of lay this out ahead of time, because I need to know where I'm going to put this little piece of ephemera. Okay, so that's approximately where it's going to go. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue, and then I'll slide that in, and then I'll use that to help me put the bird down on top. Okay, so I don't put the glue right to the edge, so that gives me wiggle room to move it around if it's not quite in the right spot and not have glue coming out or being shown. Okay, I'm going to hold it over here to give me a better angle. And I'm just going to slide it in behind. And there. Okay. So now that that's glued down, I'm going to use that as my guiding spot for putting this down. So because that adds a layer, and I don't want to use dimensionals, I'm actually going to use glue dots. So glue dots it doesn't add a huge amount of height, but it just raises it a little bit so that it sits a little straighter when it's sitting on top, when this piece is sitting on top of another piece of cardstock. Most people probably won't even realize that there's much of a difference. You could probably get away with gluing it down and it won't make a difference, but I personally just try to not have too many layers underneath another piece of die cut that will cause a different angles in the sheet of paper, especially when it gets squashed. Then you'll really notice if it's like a greater difference in height, you'll get some bending. But again, these are things that I notice, but not necessarily everybody else notices. So okay, so because I don't want to put my glue dot on the actual paper because that would just raise the height even more, I'm going to make sure I put my glue dot perhaps over here and at the tip there. So I'll put it over here on the tip. I'm just checking where my glue dot is. Okay. And I'm not going to put it down. I just want to see, yeah, I want to put it over here where his face is not touching that ephemera piece. And then from there, I think I can put it wherever I like. I'm just making sure that it didn't get stuck on the ephemera. Whoops. My glue dot is, oh, right at the edge there. you'll notice that I'm kind of like not scratching at it, but I'm using my fingernail to just press it down so that it sticks to the paper well, and it makes it easier to lift my backing piece off. Okay, all right, let's get the tweezers back so I can get my fingers out of the way. Okay, so I'm using that as my guide. And that's where I want my bird to go. All right, so now I'm just going to attach. I'll put the piece of twine, the bow, afterwards. Okay, so let's bring this back. So because I'm attaching it to this piece here, you got to make sure that you only put glue on the section that attaches to that flap. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm actually going to put my glue right on that flap. Okay, and there is a 1/8 inch gap, so I got to make sure that when I put my glue on, I'm going to leave about maybe a 1/2 inch gap between the edge of the glue and the paper, otherwise it will show. So I'm going to put it here, and this can go closer to the edge because it won't be seen, and then there. Oops. This is reality crafting. Things that can go wrong will likely go wrong, and I'm just going to accept that so that it's much less stressful. Well, it is still stressful when things don't go right, when you're on camera and you're on live, but I figure that since I've made the disclaimer already that this is live crafting, that you should expect to see these kind of mistakes sometimes. Okay, so there it is. I'm just going to add my bow, and then we'll do the inside piece. Okay, so this is a piece of linen thread. I'm just going to tie it right on the spool. I like to do that so that I have less waste because if I cut off too much, then it gets wasted, or if I don't cut off enough, then I have to throw that piece away, or I have to, you know, save it and try to remember to use it for something else next time. But if I do it on the spool, then that allows me to just pull it apart and redo it if it's not the right length. Okay, so I'm just adjusting the size of the loops, and I think that'll work well there. I'm just going to trim it off. And I like how it's like, it just keeps that curl. It gives it a little bit of interest, right? I don't straighten it out. And I use a 1/2 glue dot because the knot on the linen thread is so tiny, right? So a whole dot is it's too much. So I like to trim it in half, and even then I really don't need that much. So I'm going to just place it right in the middle of that glue dot, press it down, and then I'll peel the whole thing off and put it on my card. And I'm just going to put it right on the twig here, underneath my bird. There. All right, so now we just have the last inside piece to do. We're going to do a little bit of stamping. So I'm going to use the Happy Holidays stamp. Let's peel that off, and I'll get my block. So this is the way I lay it down in case if it's a really wiggly long piece, this makes it easier to pick it up without getting a curve accidentally put in your sentiment, right? Because if it wiggles, like I'll show you, so a longer piece like this, if it's really wiggly and you try to place it on, sometimes you might end up with it, like I'm exaggerating, but it could end up spread out like this or not quite on a straight line. And so to avoid that, you put it on your tabletop and pick it up with your block, and you avoid that problem. Okay, I'm going to use Pretty Peacock to coordinate with my sentiment on the front. So let's ink this up. I'm just going to visually check that it all looks inked up before I stamp, and it's just straight up and down. Ooh, looks good. And I'm going to take those two little pieces of greenery and I'm going to put them in the corner here. Okay, so if you remember, this is like cut off, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to position it so that the cut off section is off the edge. So let's just put a little bit of glue on this. And I'm going to make sure I don't put any glue in this bottom corner, which I'm going to be cutting off so I don't get glue everywhere. We're getting close to Christmas, people. I have to say, I think I'm further along my Christmas shopping this year than I was last year, which is a really great thing. Not done yet, but much further along than I was last year at this time. It's always stressful when you're getting down to the last few days before Christmas and you don't have all your gifts ready. Okay, and this one is probably going to be pretty close to the edge. I'm not sure if I think I let it hang off the edge a bit too, so then it has the same effect. So I'm going to do this. Okay. And actually, if I'd been thinking, I probably would have used a glue dot because the edge is over top of the other piece, but no worries. Okay, so now I'm just going to take my other, I have a special set, I have two sets of scissors. One set of scissors just for cutting sticky stuff, like the glue dots, and then this, because there's a little bit of glue showing. I like to keep a separate pair of scissors for it, because then otherwise, when I cut ribbon or something else, it sticks to it. So I keep these specially just for my sticky stuff. Let me just get these out of the way. And then we'll cut this side. And now, it doesn't matter that that piece was only a partial image, does it? Right? Because it's right into the corner. All right, so now all I have to do is adhere that inside. And again, it's a 1/8 of an inch all around, so I'm just going to move it over a little bit, and when your top flap closes on top, it should hide it, so that if it is a different color or whatever you've decided to use, it covers it up and it looks seamless. And that is the card. I think that's like so fast. There you go. That was pretty fast, wasn't it? I think I almost have time to make the other card. Perfect. Shall we do the other card? I think we have lots of time today. Maybe I will do that. Okay, so let's put this aside. Sandra says she's waiting for her, oh, your family pictures for your Christmas cards. Yeah. Yeah, I am too, actually. I still have one set that I'm waiting to have printed, but I think because of the strike this year, we probably have more time than we need. Okay, so I'm just going to show you the other pieces for the other card. I actually pre-cut them so that I was thinking I might make that card, but I have leftover pieces. So here is the other card. So it uses the other section of the card base. Remember, there's 3 pieces. Okay, so this is the blue side. I have the leftover piece from that, and I've already prepared the card bases for it. Okay. So if you remember, I need to cut this in half. So let me cut that. Sandra says she's going to blame the strike either way. You're usually done really early, Sandra. Like, I don't think you're going to be late. Even if the strike ends tomorrow, you probably, or not tomorrow, but I mean, I think you'd be done pretty fast. You're always so prepared. 1 3/8 by 4. So 1 3/8. And let's just double check this is the right width. 1 3/8. That's only a smidgen over. I'm going to leave that on because it's going to get covered up anyways. All right. So these go on the base. Okay, so let's glue those on. Where'd my glue go? Oh, wow. Have you already written like inside the cards and everything? I am not ready because I also include a newsletter for the friends that I don't see most of the year, so that we can kind of give them an update on what's going on with us. And I'm still writing that, so I am not ready to send just yet. My tweezers here, make it easier. Okay. So yeah, I write a newsletter. Just like, I know some people just print like photo greetings, which is like the fastest ever way to send cards. So, you know, just the picture of their family, and then the sentiment written, like just printed right onto the photo itself. So you can pretty much take those photos when you get them and stick it in an envelope and mail it. But I have my cards that I make, and then I include my newsletter for those friends who are we're not in touch with that often, and then I have to write, you know, I put at least sign it or something, right? So, oh right, yes, your birthday is now done, so now you can do Christmas stuff. Okay, so let's glue the back of this on. So again, I'm just centering it right between the two pieces of DSP. There's a slight overlap. And I'm just looking underneath to check that it looks like it's centered. And you can use the grid paper actually to help you center it. I don't know exactly where the center thing is. Okay, here we go. All right, so now that that's glued down, I need a 2.5 by 4 inch mat. So for this one, I did use DSP, and I did actually put, I mounted it onto a piece of Crumb Cake on the back, because the cardstock gives it a little bit more strength than just leaving it. Oh, I'm catching up on the comments there. Sandra says I sound a bit judgy. Maybe it's more not judgy, it's more like jealousy, because those are so fast to get out the door, and I could do that. I mean, there's nothing stopping me from doing that. I just like to write that newsletter because it's partially for me too, because then I can look back from year to year, and I can read those again and remember, oh yeah, we did that year. That was the trip that we took that year, or whatever happened. So I do like writing the newsletter. It's for me as well as my friends, but it does take a lot longer and a lot more effort. Not judgy at all. Okay, so I'm just double checking this is the right width. I'm pretty sure this is the leftover piece. Yes, okay, so I just need to cut this to 4 inches long, and I'm just gonna see, because I want that little blue guy, but I don't know if I'm gonna get him. But I would get the most use out of this paper if I just cut it straight in half, and I can use it again. So let's do that. Okay, so let's cut it right in half at 4 inches. Oh, that little blue guy is just gonna make it, I think. Just make it onto the paper. Woohoo! Don't have to cut him in half. Okay, so, oh, I need a, okay, so if I put this on directly, I think that this is a little bit thin, and I do want to make sure that it's supported. So what I'm gonna do is add the extra piece this time. So it's a 2.5 by 4 inch piece of crumb cake. So let me see if I can find a piece. This one looks about the right size. Let's see, 3 inches by 4 1/4. I could use that one and just cut it down. Okay, let me get that cut down. I'm going to put these off to the side so I have a little bit more room to work with. So 2.5. So let's mount that onto here, right? So it should fit exactly. So I'm just going to put my glue right on the cardstock. Okay, so again, because I am putting it right there, I'm going to put my glue right on the cardstock itself, leaving a 1/2 inch gap this time. Oops, that looks a little bit long. Okay, good, it worked out. All right, get that halfway done. I need that little bird. So I already used it up here. I need to find another piece from the paper pumpkin kit. Just bear with me for a moment while I search for one. Okay, so this is the one that has another bird. And I did use greenery die cut from this set too, so, but this one's gone already. I need another piece. Oh, I think this one. Okay. Yeah, he has no feet. He is a big cardinal. His feet are hidden. I don't know. Beats me. But we're going to make him look like he's perched anyways, right? Okay, so this, I'm going to let it hang off this time, okay? So he's positioned closer to the bottom. And I'm going to make sure I only put glue on this side, okay? So if I line it up to here, then I know I won't go past a certain point. So let's see. Yeah, somewhere around there. So let's start here. And I'll just put it like this. not oodles of glue. Let's flip this over, and I'm just looking at the angle I put the other one at. Okay, let's hope. I'm just going to check the other side. Oh, good. No glue showing. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I can't remember if the original card, if he was behind greenery. No, you know what? The original card did not have him behind greenery. Look at this. He's sitting on top. I guess his feet are just tucked in. I don't know. Okay. So because he's largely sitting on top of this greenery, I'm actually going to put a glue dot behind his head so that it raises it up just a tiny bit, and maybe the top of his body along here. Okay. So I have a half piece here. I'm going to set it aside. Then I'll save that for another day for another knot. Okay, so here I'm going to put it behind his head. Oops, where I wanted it, up here. Okay, and along the top of his body, I said. Just locating my glue dot there. Oh, and I still, okay, that's fine. All right, and the rest of it, I'm going to use glue. So I'm just going to put some glue here and along the bottom here. Okay. So I'm just holding him with my tweezers until I'm happy with where he's sitting. I think that looks good. There we go. Oh, hi, Janice. Thanks for joining us. No, you know what? I did not have a name. I did not see a name for this fold. I learned it from the fold itself from another demonstrator, and she did not have a name for it. So I don't know what it's called. Maybe somebody will find it for me again. Okay, so that is the front. There are some gems here. And I'm going to add that afterwards because I'm going to put, let's do the stamping for the inside here. So this is what I stamped on the inside. I used another sentiment from the same set, and I added more greenery, but let's just see if I can find a piece of white that fits. I had one earlier. Let's see. Oh, here. All right, so let's just check. This one I think is, I'm going to use my grid, 2.5. Oh, perfect. 2.5 by 4. Let's cut this down. Almost perfect. So 4 inches this way, and then 2.5 inches this way. Let's stamp it with the Night of Navy. And let's get the stamp. I need a stamp. I'm just trying to figure out where I put the stamp set. Oh, here it is. Found it. Okay. I used Joyful Thoughts to You this season. So let's grab that. Okay, and I'm going to put it on my table to pick up with my block. Okay, let's straighten that out. Okay. And we'll ink it up. And I always visually inspect to make sure that it all looks inked. And let's put that right here. looks good. All right. Now I did put a little greenery in the bottom there. Let's see if I can find a piece handy. I have a whole bunch of scraps left over from other. Okay, I'm losing the right side on that piece. I need the full right side, so let's see if I can find another one. I don't think I have one in this particular leftover pieces. But that's just a piece of extra. I mean, like, it's not, you don't have to have it, but I think it adds something a little nice to that corner. Let me see if I can find another piece that I can cut from in here. Oh, here. That one is, I think I want to keep the whole piece of that. I'm just wondering, like, I try not to cut into pieces that are square or rectangular, because then you might be able to use that whole piece, right? And where's, oh, here's, no. Oh, I might have that guy cut out. Let me see if I have that one. Okay, let's see. I'm pretty sure I have a little guy cut out. Well, I have this one, then I would lose the side. This is like, this is totally reality crafting. I'm like designing on the go here. Not much, but just a tiny bit. And I'm sorry, you have to spend a little time with me looking through my scraps. I could have sworn I cut that guy out, but I can't find him. Oh, here. See, I knew I had him. There he is. All right. Maybe we'll just put him in there. Okay, so I might have to cut off his tail a little bit. Actually, if I have enough room, I may be able to stick it in without cutting off his tail. Okay, I'm going to do it so that he doesn't lose his tail. I'm going to leave him in whole. Okay, let's put some glue on the back. I'm just using tiny dots of glue so that these little pieces don't get pulled up. Okay. All right, so no glue on the tip of his tail. And let's put him off a little bit off the edge here. Okay, I'm just going to check that he fits. Oh, it doesn't look like he will. I'm going to have to snip off a tiny bit of his tail. See how that fold is going to cut off? Yeah, I'm going to have to cut off a little bit of his tail. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have to trim the whole thing. I'm going to go ahead and trim it. Okay, so let's just trim off all around the edge. So we turn it over so we can see what the excess pieces are and use the edge of the paper as our guide. And there, now it's nice and clean. And we can glue that in. Okay, so 1/8 of an inch all around. And that's the card. Oh no, I still need to put the gems on. My bad. So let me get out the gems. These are the iridescent foil gems, and I quite like them because they match everything rather than having to buy the matching color for for certain DSPs or whatever, I actually prefer to have more generic colors where this will match everything. So it works for lots of cards. Okay. I'm just looking where, okay, so yesterday when I put these down, I like to move things around, so I don't usually press it in, and I like to move it around to see how it looks. But these guys, the little glue dot on the back stuck down immediately, so I wasn't able to move it after. So let me see, I think I'm gonna put it here and here this time. And then let's move this. Let's put this guy over here. There. Okay. And that is it. Wow. Such an easy layout that I made 2 today. Isn't that amazing? Although I did have the card bases all ready to go. But if you watched from the beginning, you'll see how easy it was to make those little pieces at the beginning. Not difficult at all, and not hard to assemble. So yeah, you can make this with any DSPs that you have. Oh, I did forget one thing. Reality crafting moment here. I forgot my sentiment on the front. So another piece of ephemera from this pack. Let me just find it. It is... I don't think I used that, but I might have. Thank you, Janice. That's what I hope to do, because like I know we have a lot of stuff in our stash, and I like to mix and match new stuff because the new stuff is exciting with what we have already, and because we all know that we're hoarding stuff, right? So I'm going to probably use this again and maybe make like a birthday card instead, or a sympathy card. And it's so easy, and it looks really impressive, and it stands up. I know for the older generation, like when I send it to my mother, she likes cards that she can stand up, because she doesn't like those ones where I think it just does not stand and it has like something that slides off, so you lose part of the card design when the what's it called? You know, when there's a band, like a belly band on it, and part of the design of the card front is on the belly band, and you have to remove it. She doesn't, I don't think she loves those kinds of cards. So this is impressive and stands up, and I think it makes a great fun fold for all sorts of cards. Okay, so let's put this one on dimensionals, because it's on the flattest part of this card. I'm just going to put 2. Okay, my tweezers. And I'm just going to position this one off to the side a little bit, because the bird sticks out, because I think that it looks a little bit better that way. So it's not centered on this piece of blue strip. It's just off to the side a little bit. All right, now I am done. And look, that took us right to the 1 hour mark. Perfect. All right, so look, and I love how this one folds flat. So then you can put it in the mail, like, actually, if you put it in the mail like this, it would be flatter, but then it would open up this side. But you can send it like this so that it can be a surprise when it opens. But for writing on, this is flat. I like that. So here you go. I hope that you are going to enjoy making some cards with this layout yourself. Thank you, Sandra. And that you're inspired to do some crafting. It is getting close to the Christmas season, and I think everybody needs like a crafting break from everything every now and again. And this is an easy card to make, so give it a shot. I will put the measurements in the video description. If you're watching this on replay, I would love it if you say hi and tell me where you're watching from, and like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys next week. Have a great week.